Hi, I'm Mike Rowarth, inventor of the silent treatment Stop Snoring tongue trainer device. The first question people ask me about the silent treatment is, how does it work? This is because it looks so different from the anti-snoring devices that they're familiar with. So let's start by examining what causes snoring and its nasty big brother, obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA. Of the various body parts that interact with each other to make you snore, for most snorers the tongue is the main culprit. Other bits and pieces affect the outcome to a greater or lesser extent, but simply put, if there was no tongue there, there would be no snoring. Control the tongue and you control the snoring. You see, when you're awake, the tongue is instinctively held in a forward position in a flattened shape. But when we are asleep, the tongue relaxes. It takes up a more humped shape, moving up and back towards the back of the throat. Before long it is almost touching the soft palate and restricting the flow of air when you inhale. This makes the soft palate vibrate, which makes the snoring noise. If the tongue actually touches the soft palate, breathing stops altogether. This is OSA. Now those old familiar devices I mentioned before try to stop that happening. The mandibular advancement device, or MAD, forces your lower jaw forward of its natural position relative to the upper jaw. The tongue, which is attached to the lower jaw, moves forward with it. This is intended to prevent the tongue moving back far enough to block the airway. And in mild cases it does work, but forcing your lower jaw forward using your front teeth for leverage will, over time, loosen your front teeth and damage your jaw joint. Now there is another type of anti-snoring device out there called a tongue stabilization device, or TSD. These devices use suction on the end of your tongue to keep your tongue in a forward position while you sleep. This does work, but if you have ever examined your tongue closely in a mirror, you will have seen that the top surface of your tongue is covered in hundreds of tiny lumps. They're called papillae, and they make it very difficult to get the TSD to seal around your tongue because the air leaks past them. So even if you push your tongue very hard into the sealing ring, enough to actually injure your tongue with the amount of suction on it, your tongue will still come out of the ring during the night, allowing the snoring to start. So how does the silent treatment work? Well, it's not magic. And it's not rocket science, but it is a simple, practical and completely revolutionary solution to the problem. You see, those papillae that prevent the TSDs from working through the night actually assist the silent treatment to keep the tongue in its awake position. The underside of the device is covered in hundreds of tiny spurs. These spurs are shaped, spaced and angled to precisely mesh with the papillae. This keeps your tongue in the flattened, forward position that it stays in when you are awake. But because there are so many of them, there is no harm or discomfort. It's kind of like Velcro. One hook and loop pair on its own would do nothing, but hundreds of them working together is amazingly effective. The tendency for your tongue to rise as it relaxes keeps enough gentle pressure on the spurs to maintain the engagement throughout the night. And after a few nights of using the device, the phenomenon known as muscle memory will kick in. Your tongue is a muscle, and it will remember the position it has been staying in while you sleep, and you will find you only need to use the device for a few hours a week just to keep the memory active. And that's how it works. And it works so well, we guarantee it, 100%. To fit it to your mouth, you will need to boil the device. The bulbs on the sides are made of a very special material which will soften in boiling water enough for you to bite them into the shape of your teeth. When it has cooled down and you want to use it, you simply pop it into your mouth, putting your tongue in a comfortable forward position to engage with the spurs, and sweet dreams.